know I usually don't make videos in the night so much, but this is something important I have to share. This is episode, I think, 84, by the way. Just finished a dinner with two of my amazing Balinese friends who I hadn't seen in a long time. And they told me they were working, and they were explaining that they work all the time. And they just work. Like, they're working 10, 12 hours a day. We had just finished around 10:30 at night, and they got to be up at 5:30 again the next morning. And I understand there's culture, there's things that need to be done, but I just wanted to point this concept out to you, and I love you to death, and I just want to share this conversation that we had. And it was about time. And it's something that once you grasp, things change for you. And the one thing, my friend, she's 24, about to be 25. And I said, you're not going to be, I'm on the streets here in Canggu, you can see. I told her, you're not going to be 24 again. And you're about to be 25, you won't be 25 again. You don't get the time back. Time does not come back. You can try to make up for lost time, but time does not come back, my friends. And I think if people really understood this, I think instantly you would change almost everything that you do. Understanding that you can get money. You can always figure out a way to get money at a certain point in your life. At any point in your life, you can figure out a way to get money. But one thing you can't get back is time. And we tend to spend so much time to get money. And when you grasp that time doesn't come back, once it's gone, then it really changes the way you look at it. So many of you guys are working to travel and you think I need to have this huge nest egg of money. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I'm just saying understand that the whole time, that time is the most valuable asset. It's been one of the things that I've realized the most, from hiring a team to having staff that's brought time to give me more free time. The reason why I picked YouTube, one of the things I talked about in Side Hustle Magic, the reason I picked YouTube because it gave me time. It takes time to edit videos, not gonna lie, but the time that I spend is so fun. Making videos, sharing my thoughts, it's so fun to me. And I found a way to do it in a way that's really authentic, which makes my time even more fun. And one of the things, and I tell this to my clients, and I'll share this with you as just something from my heart, is that you can tell how time is going for you. You can tell how you felt by how long the time seems to go. For so many of you watching this, I know that 2020 probably felt like a really, really, really long time. Any of you that are in crypto, at the time of recording, I think it's the 20th of May. On the 19th, last night, especially I know for me and most of my friends I talked to at Body Factory in the gym, is last night during the crypto kind of correction. There's about a 12-hour period that felt like 6 years, but it literally lasted about 24 hours as of right now. And I guess the main thing that I really want to share with you guys is that you don't get time back. You don't get time back. Money, it comes and goes. You can get it, you can lose it. You can make it back tenfold and you'll be okay. But time, once you lose it, once you're finished being 23 years old, 35 years old, 46 years old, 57 years old, 67 years old, 73 years old, you who's 84 watching this, once that year is over, it's done. So maybe a question I want to ask you is, how do you want to remember this year that you're in right now, however old you are? How do you want to remember it? Is the year you just said, I'm just going to go. Time is my most valuable asset and I'm not going to waste it because I don't get it back. Now, if you're anything like me, you've had times when you've wasted money. You probably bought that really crazy thing and you thought the world was over because you lost money doing this. And then what happened a few years later, most of the time? It comes back to you. Or you forget about it because you get more. Or you just realize it doesn't matter that much. But with time, it doesn't happen. Time, it's here. And I don't think when we realize that we spent all our time trying to get money or spent all of our time trying to prove ourselves to other people, is when we truly realize that we've wasted the time and we're not getting that time back that we've lost. And, I care so much about you all. And, I wasn't even going to make a video today, but it's just so close to my heart that time, it's something about that. And we tend to think that we just have more time. We tend to think that I'll just do it next year. You know, my heart really goes out to all the people who had big trips planned for 2020. For you all who had 2020 is going to be the year you're going to start traveling. Or people who had retired in the end of 2019 and finally was going to start living their life. And so many other stories along the lines like that. I mean, myself included. I was supposed to go back to basketball. I was supposed to do all these things, travel the world. I can imagine if I would have waited another year to try to travel, how that would have turned out. And you realize that time didn't come back. That year's gone. That month is gone. That day is gone. But here's the good news and bad news. The bad news is it's gone. The good news is it's gone. There's no need dwelling on it. There's no need focusing on it. Now it's like, well, what do you want? You guys know I always ask you that question. What do you want to accomplish? And more importantly, how do you want to spend your time? How do you want to remember this time period of being 27, 36, 44, 23? How do you want to remember being that old? The year you finally cut ties and just finally decided to live your life? Because I'm going to tell you something, and I tell this to a lot of people, especially to myself. What's the worst thing that would happen? Oh, I guess that's a bad way to phrase it here, since you guys can't respond. But there's a lot of you guys, and I'll talk about that later, another video. Some of you guys are wanting to travel and do all these things. And in your mind, there's this like, I'm going to wait till I'm ready. I'm going to wait. And I just want to say, the longer you wait and the longer that time ticks, the harder it gets, the more beliefs build up in your mind that kind of stop you. And I just want to send you a word of encouragement and remind you that what I thought about is the worst thing happens is I travel, I run out of money. Then what would happen if you ran out of money when you were traveling? Most of you all watching this are resourceful. You'd have someone you could reach out to. Someone would help you out. But what would they do? Where would they fly you to? They'd probably fly you back home. Back to your home city. Back to the city you're in right now. And you probably go and maybe go back to your job and ask your job if you can start working there again. And if that didn't happen, you'd most likely go out and get another job. But here's the crazy thing. That's what people would look at as failure. They look at that as I failed. But I want you to think about that. What you're claiming as failure is where you're already at right now. If that desire is there, you're getting the hints, the signs always there that you should be doing something you're not. Maybe it's time to look at that failure. And once you take that action and so-called fail, the experience you gain from going out there will help you the next time. I don't know if you've ever Googled this, and I'll end it on this. I'll end this little 10:30 p.m. talk. I switched from Samsung to iPhone a while. I have both, but before I was trying to make a big decision. And I found so many people Googling switching from Samsung to Apple. And it vastly outweighed the number of people switching from Apple to Samsung. It's not about that. Not about the two companies, which, like I say, I'm with both of them. I have both phones. But it's about understanding that there's a lot. It's hard to hear from the other side a lot. And I hope that one of you guys get a chance one day to meet someone who traveled the world, did the best they could, enjoyed their life, and ran out of money and had to come home. Do you think they would regret anything? Do you think they'd have some cool stories? Do you think that possibly that trip, however long it lasted, 3 days, 3 months, 3 years, 30 years, 4 decades, do you not think that would be one of the best times of their life? As a pro athlete, I was in Australia playing, and I don't know if I've told you guys this. I've told people in my inner circle. If you're part of the Charmed year, then you've probably heard this story in some of the videos that are on there. Is when I was playing in Australia, I was I was 22 years old and I didn't really have money, and that was the first time I ever had money. Like, whoa, I can get some cool things now. But my goal was always to come to Europe, and I'll make this story really quick, 30 seconds, this story, then I'm out of here. And I got a call to go to Germany from Australia after playing there 2 years. And they offered me a salary that was 1/6 of what I was making in Australia. But my goal was always to go over to Europe. And I think about that time so much now because the salary was so low, and looking at me now, I don't know how I did that and how I made it work. But that moment in my life taught me so much, because it taught me that I could go from up here and be down here, but doing what I love, it still was okay. It taught me to be creative. It taught me about budgeting and traveling. It taught me about being resourceful. It's during those days when I had no money that I realized that connections can get you places that money cannot get you. And that made me become even more personable with people. And more importantly, during that time, and I got this from the movie Poseidon, but it really related to me, was back in the day when I was living in Germany and I had to decide whether I'm gonna take the metro all the way home and back, or I'm gonna get a slice of pizza, because that's how tight money was for me back then. And I remember that moment, and I remember it very clearly. And I think back to that moment, and that was one of the most funnest times of my life. I didn't have a lot. At the end of the month, I don't know how I did it, honestly. Some of you all know the story who've been in private programs with me where I've talked about it. But I made it work. Had the best time of my life. I got creative. The person who I became because of that. The person who I became because I had to struggle, how I had to be creative to find fun, allows me to really thrive, and allowed me to thrive from that year forward. And I always think back to that, because it's not always about what we accomplish. It always comes down to who we have to become to accomplish it. Time, my friend. You don't get it back. Love you guys. Speak to you all later. And I wish you guys could see my shirt, by the way. In the back, it says, I'm gonna try to show you guys real quick before I get out of here. Tell you guys to work hard, be brave, and it might be in reverse. It's probably in reverse because I'm in selfie mode on my phone. And don't forget to smile. But thank you guys for being here, and thank you guys for being here. And I'll speak to you all later from a little M-Mart here. They're everywhere here in Bali. See to you guys all later. And in the meantime, everyone always remember to work hard, be brave, and don't forget to smile. Ciao. Time, guys. Time. And the quote would be, the problem is time. With time is that you think you got more. There you go. Whew. Okay. See you guys tomorrow.